Hi friends, thanks for stopping by today to watch as I make this Slimline card using the June stamp of the month called Outdoor Borders. I really love how this came together. So some of the pieces that I'm using here, I've got some Bluebird cardstock and I'm using the true side, the dark side color of that. And then I've got this piece of white daisy cardstock that is cut to 3 by 8 inches. And then I'm just going to use some washi tape and put that down on my VersaMat, and I'm going to grab a pencil and a ruler and I'm going to make some guidelines for myself. So that way when I stamp these borders in a diagonal across the front of the card, they all go on straight and that they are evenly spaced out. Now, the first lines that I made, I came down 1 inch on the right side and 2 inches on the left side. And that is where that strip of Bluebird cardstock is going to go. And that strip of Bluebird cardstock is actually 3/4 of an inch. But the stamps themselves are about a 1/2 inch in height. So except for the 2 spots where those Bluebird cardstock strips are going to be, all my other lines are a 1/2 inch apart. So I just made sure to kind of pay attention to, okay, this is the 3/4 inch section and these other sections are all a 1/2 inch apart. And so that was really the only trick. Like I said, I kind of put my little piece there just to kind of remind myself, okay, that part's this, and now you're coming down 3/4 of an inch. Okay, here comes the next one, that's 3/4 of an inch, just to make sure that everything was, all the lines were in the right spot. And using my VersaMat, it was super easy to do this because I just went from corner to corner on those lines and the increments that I needed them to be. Okay, and so now I've got those guidelines on there, and not only will those lines help me to stamp everything on straight, but one other thing that I discovered is it made it a lot easier because for all of these borders, I'm going to stamp them onto the card front more than once. And so while I have it on my block and inked up, I can go ahead and stamp wherever it is the second time because I can just kind of look at where those lines are and see, you know, count to wherever it needs to be. And so I didn't have to keep taking it off and putting it on and taking it off and putting it on. So, you know, that extra minute or two it took for the pencil guidelines really, I think, made a difference, made it a lot easier. Okay, here you can see all the colors I'm going to be using. I just kind of came in with a bunch of bright summery colors, and I'm going to start with a raspberry for these flip-flops. Now you will notice that all of these stamps are very long and skinny and they're a little bit floppy. And so a couple of tricks, whenever you have a delicate stamp like that or a long stamp, really kind of use your fingers to walk it off the carrier sheet, and that way you don't accidentally rip it. Sorry about my head there. That way you don't accidentally rip it. So just kind of gently walk it along as you're pulling it off. And the other thing is sometimes those long floppy ones can be a little bit tricky to get on your stamp block straight. And so what I have discovered works really well is just to kind of almost like fling it or drop it onto your table or your desk upside down and then pick it up with your block because it will naturally kind of straighten itself out and go, it'll put itself down straight if you just kind of let it be itself. And then that way, if you pick it up with the block, you don't have to fuss with trying to get it on the block straight. It's already on there straight. Okay, next I'm coming in with Clover, which is a really pretty dark green. And I am stamping the one that says Sweet Summer Days, and it has both a little watermelon slice and a popsicle on it, but I just used the part that had the watermelon slice. And then I made sure to kind of stagger where it had it placed on the card so that they weren't lined up exactly. All right, my next stamp, I actually cut the little bicycle off the end of the one that said enjoy the ride. I was a little nervous cutting my stamps. I don't normally do that. I know some people cut theirs all the time, but I'm not one of those people. And I literally held my breath when I was cutting it, and then nothing happened. It just cut and it was fine and the world went on. So I have a feeling that I probably will be cutting a few more of the stamps in the set, like the little sun was really easy to use on its own and a couple other little things. So don't be afraid to cut your stamp sets if you just want a particular part and you don't want to deal with the masking. So I stamped that bicycle in the Flamingo color, and now I'm coming in with Carolina and I'm doing those waves. Okay, next we've got green apple, and this is going to be that really pretty mountain border. And I know mountains aren't green, but I just loved this color, the green apple. And really when I was picking my colors, Like I said, I picked some that were just bright and summery, but with the exception of the yellow, the lemonade that I used, I was trying to make sure that I had 2 shades of each color. So I have a darker pink and a lighter pink in the raspberry and the flamingo. And I have a darker green and a lighter green with the the green apple and the clover, and so on and so forth. And just, I liked the way that looked. I thought it kind of made for a fun little rainbow. All right, so now I'm just coming in and using my eraser to erase those pencil marks, and you can't even tell they were there. And like I said, I really think it was worth that extra few minutes just to put them on there to keep everything straight and make it a lot easier to stamp. Okay, so I'm going to take some silver shimmer trim and just put it down the center of those Bluebird cardstock strips. And you'll notice that I still have this little plastic backing tail off the end of my shimmer trim. And I keep it that way on purpose. And so that way it's easy just to get it started the next time you use it and you're not trying to use your fingernail to pick it off the backing. So just kind of cut it carefully so that the plastic backing is longer than the actual silver shimmer trim. Such a mouthful. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to create a little slice of watermelon. I could have left it as it was, but I thought let's come in with the raspberry ink and just on a scratch piece of white daisy, let's just stamp that watermelon part from that one border that says Sweet Summer Days. Because it's a little triangle, it's really easy to fussy cut out, and so I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna stamp 2 little watermelon slices in raspberry, and then I am going to come in with my black journaling pen, and I'm gonna add some seeds onto it so that it really looks like a slice of watermelon. And then I will fussy cut them out and glue them over top of the ones that are stamped in the clover. And I just cut out, when I do the fussy cutting, I just cut out the actual melon part and not the rind. And so that way the rind is still in clover when it shows, and then the actual melon is just in raspberry. So it ends up looking really cute. Now, if I were going to make this card again, I probably would switch up the order of my borders or what color I stamp them in, just so that, looking back, I wouldn't have the 2 raspberry colors right next to each other, because the raspberry flip-flops are right beneath where I have those watermelon slices. So I've just kind of spread it out a little bit more, because it doesn't matter what color, everything is stamped in. You could kind of do it in whatever order. Okay, so I'm also using my black journaling pen to come in over the sunglasses that the sun is wearing. And so again, just kind of a few extra little touches to kind of fill in some of those little tiny details that are on those border stamps. They're so cute. Okay, so now I have a piece of Bluebird cardstock, and this is going to back that white piece that we just stamped. And this Bluebird piece is cut to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. And then I'm just swiping the edge of it with my Bluebird ink pad just to kind of finish it off a little bit. And then we're going to adhere this white piece to the center, and then it just has a tiny little Bluebird border all the way around it. And actually, when we go to put it on the front of our Slimline card, then there will be an additional white border. So it just kind of layers it a little bit, and it looks really cool. Okay, final little touch. We're gonna come in with a clear shimmer brush and go over the little wavy water lines, I guess. And you can't really see it in the video, but this really, along with that silver shimmer trim, it just adds so much sparkle to the front of this card. It looks really good to have a little bit of shimmer brush on there. So if you've never played with the shimmer brush, I highly recommend it. You will find yourself adding shimmer to everything in all of your projects. So fun. Can you see how the light catches that? Love it. All right, so we are ready to just kind of put the final bit of the card together here. This is a Slimline card base, and we're just going to attach this to the front of it. Now I'm just using some 3M foam tape. Honestly, this stuff is ancient. It's yellowing. It's not even very sticky anymore. I was cleaning out my classroom for the summer a few weeks ago, and I discovered it hidden in a drawer somewhere, and it's certainly not sticky enough to put any sort of posters or anything up anymore in my classroom. So I thought I'm going to bring that home and use it for cards. I probably won't use it on any scrapbook pages because I don't know if it's archival or not, but perfect for cards. So here you can see all of those fun little details. This stamp set is so fun, and it's available only during the month of June, and I will leave some of those details for it below. All right, happy crafting!